Hey guys, welcome back to Scrubs and Suitcases. You guys have given a lot of love to our Schengen visa series, and I hope that I have helped a lot of you to get your Schengen visa. Quite a lot of things have changed in Schengen visa form filling, especially after the form has become online. Every year, thousands of Schengen visa applications in India are rejected just because of some stupid mistakes in the forms. Many people think that their visa application got rejected because of their bank balances or documents. But in reality, very small errors in your Schengen visa form can actually lead to simple rejection. So in this video, I'm going to explain you how to fill that Schengen visa form online step by step. And along the way, I'll also show the most common mistakes that people do while filling the visa form. By the end of this video, you will know how to completely fill the form correctly. Welcome to Scrubs and Suitcases, and let's start this video. Hi everyone, we are Rohit and Arshia, two dentists who are absolutely in love with traveling the world. For us, memories are the one treasure we know we'll carry with us forever. And that's why we are out exploring, filming, and sharing. So come along with us on this journey and let's start this video. Before starting to fill the form, the first question that arises is where do you actually get that Schengen visa form from? Well, different countries have slightly different systems. For example, if you're applying for France, for example, if you're applying for France, you will fill the form on the France visa website. Similarly, for Germany, it's the Videx website. For countries like Switzerland and Italy, you can directly download the online form from the VFS Global. But irrespective of the country, the structure of the form almost 99% of the times remains the same. So once you understand how the form works for a single country, it will help you fill all of those forms very easily. In this video, we'll take the form of Switzerland as an example. Once on the VFS Global website, when you select the departure country, that is India, and the arrival country, that is Switzerland in this case, it will take you to a separate web page. In this, we'll click on Apply for Visa. This will open a page where the step by step guide shows the first step as to identify the type of visa required. In this, when you click on View More, you can click on the visa type and it will open a separate page. In the drop down menu, you can select as tourist in the short term visa application. Once you select tourist, it will open up a lot of information like the visa fees, documents required, etc. Small tip here is that you can download the required document list also when you're here on this page. So when you are already on this page, I would recommend that you download that list as well. Now, under the download form, you can actually download the visa application form and start with me as a step-by-step guide to fill the visa application form. A small tip before we start filling the visa application form is that every detail that we enter in the visa application form has to match your passport irrespective of whether it is correct or not, irrespective of whether you're staying at that address right now or not, it has to match your passport. So the first column that shows up in the visa application form is the surname. The second column that shows up is the surname at birth. This is required if after marriage you have changed your surname. If not, this will be not applicable. The third column is the first name. All of these informations I am writing down as XYZ or ABC so as to protect personal information. But here, obviously, you'll write your own information according to your own passport details. The fourth column is for the date of birth. The fifth is the place of birth as mentioned on your passport. Sixth is the country of birth, which for most of us will be India. Seventh is the current nationality. If your current nationality is not Indian, then you have to write the current nationality here and then write Indian in the column of nationality at birth. Otherwise, in the current nationality, it will be just Indian and the other column will be not applicable. Eighth column is the gender or the sex. The ninth column is the civil status. Here, if you are married but your passport shows that you're single or unmarried, it's not a problem. You can still tick married and show the relevant marriage proof, like a marriage certificate. The 10th column is only valid for minors. So if you're filling the form for your child, this is the place that you will write your own information. Otherwise, for all the adults, it will be non applicable. The 11th column is the national identity number. For us Indians, it's the Aadhaar number. So you'll mention that here. The 12th column asks you your type of passport. For most of us, it'll be an ordinary passport. 13th column is the number of travel document. So the number of travel document means your passport number. Make sure that you write this correctly. 14th, 15th, and 16th columns are related to the information of your passport issuance, date of issue, and expiry date. So make sure that you write those properly according to your own passport. 17th column is for those who have somebody residing in the European Union and is blood related to them. If that is the case, you can mention the detail of that person here and later on attach the required documents in your application. Otherwise, it will be non-applicable. 18th column is also asking you the relationship of that person to you. So if 17th column is not applicable, 18th will also be not applicable. Now 19th column is your own home address and email address. Make sure that you write your email address here as well. Sometimes people miss on that. The home address will be the address on your passport. So make sure that you mention that correctly and not your current. 20th is the residence in any other country other than current nationality. For most of us, it'll be no. But if you have a residence anywhere else, you can mention it. The 21st column is current occupation. This should match whatever you write on your cover letter. If you want a detailed video on cover letter, I'll leave a link in the description and it will help you guide the most important document of your Schengen visa application, that is the cover letter. So make sure that you check it out after this video. 22nd column is the employer's address and telephone number. Here, you'll write down whatever place that you're employed at, or if you're a business owner, you'll write down the details of your own business. For students or minors, it will be the address and the telephone number of their schools. 23rd column will be the purpose of your visit. For most of us, it will be tourism. But if you have any other purpose, you can write it down here. 24th column asks you additional info on the purpose of stay. This is just a simple extension of 23rd column. A one or two line here about why you're going to the place will explain the visa officer in detail what is the main purpose of your visit. If you're going for tourism, you can just write down that I'm going with my family on a tourism trip from these dates till these dates. Or I'm going for 10 days with my family as a tourist. That'll be enough. No need to write down paragraphs here. Now, 25th column is a tricky one. It's asking for the member state of the main destination. And in brackets, it's asking for any other member states that you intend to visit. It has to completely match your itinerary that you have provided in the cover letter. So the member state of main visit will obviously be the member state that you're applying the visa for. That will be Switzerland. In the bracket, you can write down any other EU state if you're visiting them. 26th column is the member state of first entry. This can differ from the main member state. For example, this need not be Switzerland here. If you're entering from Germany or France, you can just simply mention them here. 27th column is the number of entries requested. Make sure that you write down single entry here. Visa officer will give you a visa for multiple entry if they think that you are eligible for one. You do not take here multiple entries because you won't be able to justify those multiple entries with just one itinerary. So make sure that you take single entry. Next is the intended date of arrival and departure. According to the flight tickets that you're attaching and the itinerary that you're showing, you'll write these down here. 28th column asks you if you have ever visited or your fingerprints have been collected for Schengen visa application. If that is the case, you can write down yes and tell them the application number. Otherwise, you can just write down no. 29th column asks you if you have an entry permit for the final destination. Now, this is for the case if you're going somewhere else after Schengen and not returning to your own country. If you're returning to your own country back, this can be just non applicable. If you're leaving for some other country after Schengen, then you have to write down the visa number for that country here. 30th column is asking you if any person or entity has actually invited you, which you can write down the information here. Otherwise, you'll write down the hotel information. Also, keep in mind that the hotel information will be the hotel of the main member state, that is Switzerland here, irrespective of your first entry. You just need to write down the first hotel in Switzerland where you will be staying. Next is the address and the email address of that hotel. Make sure people miss out the email address, so you write that as well. 31st column is the name of the organization, if any, who is inviting you. You can just write down non-applicable if that is the case. Now, 32nd column is where it gets tricky. It's asking you who will be bearing the cost of the trip when you're visiting Schengen. If you are a salaried person, you will be making sure that you tick by self here. Means of support will be cash, prepaid accommodation, travel, and credit cards. But if you're self employed, you can tick this as well as that I will be sponsored by a company, which will be basically your own company, and mention the details of that company as well. So in that case, you can tick both the columns if you are self-employed and have a own company registered in your name. Otherwise, you can just mention that you are being financed by your own self. For spouse or for children who are being financed by their parents, you can tick that you are being financed by a sponsor and then write down the name of the main sponsor. Make sure that you attach a sponsorship letter from the main sponsor here as well. 33 column asks you if any other person is filling the form for you. So for minors, it will be the name of their parent who is filling the form. But for most of us, it will be non-applicable. And the last column, which will be the only column that you will leave without filling online, is the signature part. You can do the signature after printing out the form once you have filled it online. Now, once we have learned how to fill that Schengen visa form correctly, let's talk about one of the most common mistakes that people do while entering the form. Mistake number one, writing the wrong passport number. This, however small it might sound like, is a very common mistake that people do. Make sure that you double check the passport number that you have entered because this will lead to an automatic rejection of your application even without going to a human person. Mistake number two is that your travel dates do not match your itinerary. There are many places in the form which ask you for your travel dates or the intended number of days of stay, or the main destination of visit, or any other countries that you will be visiting. So make sure that all of them match with whatever you have written in your travel itinerary and cover letter. Mistake number three is leaving sections incomplete. Do not leave sections incomplete. If they are not relevant to you, you can just write down not applicable or NA, but do not leave them incomplete. Incomplete sections will lead to questions and which can in turn lead to rejection. And the last mistake is actually to forget to sign the application at the end and mention the date and time. Do not forget to do that. Mention the place and the date and time that you have actually signed the application. Now, final steps once you complete this application is to download and print it and sign it. You can then book your own VFS appointment and submit this application form along with all the required documents. If you want a list of all the required documents specifically for Schengen visa, you can just ask me down in the comment and I'll be happy to help you in that. I have made detailed videos about all the topics which cover the Schengen visa application. So if you need to check them out, I will leave the link of all those videos down in the description. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next one.